The government shut down, federal workers aren't getting paid, and the media is screaming crisis. But here's what they're not telling you. The stock market just hit all-time highs, and members of Congress are buying stocks like crazy. Ross Givens returns with explosive evidence. Remember when Congress dumped all their stocks right before COVID crashed the market? Well, now they're doing the opposite, buying aggressively during the shutdown. What do they know that you don't? And what is it that Republican Congressman Tim Burchett is saying? You know what he said? He said they're crooked as a dog's leg. And people are making a living following Nancy Pelosi's trades. And of course, he goes on C-SPAN, and there's a shocking confession. Now, Ross is here. He's tracked congressional trades for 20 years at J.P. Morgan Chase. His data, he's going to show you, shows Congress beating the market by 400% using insider information. Ross, welcome back.
Hey, good to see you, Gary.
Great to have you here. I want to get to this clip. This is from the Clay Travis and the Buck Sexton show. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett calling out the entire system. Let's pull that up right now. Here it is. Check this out.
Nancy Pelosi is Warren Buffett level investing savant, even if it's not actually improper. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
I agree 100%. Congress is broke, and it is crooked as a dog's leg, brother. There is no other explanation. When a congressman can make 600% return on their investment day in and day out, or 300 or 200 or whatever, I mean, just go on the Unusual Whales website and read the top 100. It's unbelievable. It is unfreaking believable. I mean, people are making a living now of just following Nancy Pelosi's stock trades. Warren Buffett needs to go to the front porch and sit there and play with his grandkids or something and just turn it over to Pelosi. It is unbelievable. And we can't even get the bill in committee. Neither party. They're gutless. They are gutless, and it is shady as all get out.
Nancy Pelosi is all get up. Buffett should just hand over his advisors to Pelosi, saying it's crooked as a dog's leg. People following Pelosi's trades. Ross, he said Buffett should retire and let Pelosi take over. What's your reaction to a sitting congressman admitting this?
Well, it's nice to finally see it at the surface. You know, this has been like one of the worst kept secrets on Capitol Hill for decades now. Almost all these guys have been doing this. And he's right. I mean, look, even Trump called out Pelosi from the Oval Office a few weeks back, saying that she's got better returns than pretty much every hedge fund on Wall Street. And it's 100% accurate. You know, we've been doing this since 2017 as a service for members. We track these trades, the politicians, the insiders. We've beaten the market every single year for 8 years straight, not because I'm Warren Buffett, because we're following people like Pelosi and like these others. So, yeah, it's 100% true. They've been doing it. It's out in plain sight. The only silver lining is that, of course, we can see what stocks they're buying, and that's how we really get an edge. But, yeah, it's all true.
Now, I'm queuing up this footage from C-SPAN right now. This is equally as crazy. Let me just pull it up here. I thought I had it bookmarked, but okay, here it is. I'm going to pull it up right now. This is from just a couple days ago. And okay, here it is. Let me pull that up for you. Okay, so this is on C-SPAN. Tim Burchett going off about congressional members participating in insider trading.
I knows how to make these. It's kind of funny when you deal with this stuff. And I talked to the ethics people the other day. Everybody knows how to make these crazy skateboards, and people asking, "Hey, sell me a skateboard." So I said, "Well, let me go check it out with ethics." I literally got to get attorneys involved to sell a dadgum skateboard. But if I want to do insider stock trading, just get elected to Congress. Really? I mean, let's just be honest. Look, everybody ought to do like I do. Get their $12,000 portfolio in a mutual fund. Let my buddy Tommy Seiler handle it. He does pretty well. Although my daughter's going to school now, so I'll be cashing that out very soon. But look, we're public servants. We're stewards of the community. Nobody's above the law. You hear that's kind of become cliche up here. But for years, members of Congress we know they've gotten rich using hardworking American taxpayers' money. We members sit on committees, we attend private meetings where we gain privileged information about companies. Congress appropriates money to economic sectors that may overlap with members' own portfolios. I call it the war pimps a lot. I worry about us voting on wars that we're going to send our kids off to that we couldn't even find on a dadgum globe, and members owning stock in those things. The American taxpayer always gets the short end of the stick, and Congress seems to profit at their expense. This body has been enriching itself on the taxpayer's dime, and dadgummit, it's got to stop. The president's already said he would sign a bill banning stock trading for members of Congress if passed. I think the real test is going to be whether Congress has the guts to stand up and do what's right. And I'm proud of all these people up here. I don't agree with them, some of these people, on anything. If Cortez told me the sun was coming up tomorrow, I'd go out and check it out.
It doesn't shock me that they don't want to pass this. I mean, they're all getting privileged information in these private meetings. I mean, if you or I did this, it would be absolutely criminal. How is what they're doing not?
Yeah, and look, I don't know if there's ever been in the history of Washington, D.C., other than maybe Trump, a politician who came into office and left D.C. poorer than when they arrived. And it ain't from the salary, right? It's kickbacks, it's stock tips. And, this insider trading stuff, if you think about it, there's no paper trail involved. I'm sure back in the 70s and 80s, these guys got bags of cash delivered into the trunk of their car to vote on stuff. But now they can't do that. There's going to be a record when they deposit this money. But how do you track a stock tip? How do you prove it? I mean, they've busted members of Congress for this. It is blatantly obvious that Nancy Pelosi has been doing this. I mean, she put millions into NVIDIA 2 weeks before she passed a bill that was going to give $50 billion to NVIDIA and the semiconductor stocks, right? She bought up Google right before big government contracts and Microsoft and others. There's no doubt that they are doing this. I'm going to go ahead and save you the suspense. They're not going to pass this bill, Gary. They're not going to do it. I mean, you're not going to give away your honey hole unless it gets to a point. We may be getting close, but it's got to get to a point where the American voter says, if you do not vote no on this, I will not reelect you. And I just don't think we're there. Plus, the way they do this crap is attach it to another bill. So it's like, oh, you want to ban insider trading? You also got to make murder legal in Nebraska. And they're like, well, I can't vote for that. And it doesn't pass. So listen, it's not overly complicated. Like I said, the only thing is they have to report this stuff. We're having a training event. We do these every couple of months. Next week at 3 Eastern, I think it's this coming Thursday, and we show people how to do this. Like, this is all online databases. You can see what Pelosi and others are buying, as well as the CEOs and the CFOs and those insiders. And you just follow along. And when you've got these people who rarely buy stocks and they go in for millions in this little, nothing defense company out of France or this little tiny AI startup no one's heard of. It's like, as he said, they have more information than us. They sit on private meetings. And so the only thing that makes this less of a kick in the you-know-what is that you can follow along and make some money alongside them.
Yeah, and that's remarkable that you actually are able to teach people how to do that. The government shut down now. Markets hitting all-time highs. Crypto is skyrocketing. Congress is buying stocks in the middle of the shutdown. What the hell's going on? What's really happening here?
Well, the shutdown doesn't have a great impact on the economy because there's been, 18, 20 of these throughout history. The longest one was like 30 days. And personally, I'm happy the government shut down. Stop the bleeding. But listen, if there was a real catastrophe, you would know it because Congress would start dumping their stocks. And that's, as you said, not happening.
Well, Congress in 2020, they dumped stocks right before the COVID crash. Okay, so now they're buying during the shutdown. How does this prove that they know something we don't?
Well, they're going to protect their own wallets. They always have and they always will. So as in COVID, they were briefed on the situation. Now, you and I had no idea how bad it was going to get in January 2020.
No.
We couldn't have fathomed they'd shut down the economy, quarantine people, close businesses. But they knew they were going to do that. They knew how bad it was in China and what was coming. And a lot of these congressmen dumped millions of dollars worth of stocks, got out of the market right before one of the biggest and fastest market crashes in U.S. history. They sidestepped this. So I haven't seen that from any of them. None of the 435 members of Congress have been dumping stock like that. If there were a catastrophe, that's what you'd see. Instead, they're buying and we're following along.
Yeah, and they knew it was coming. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I can't stand her. She's now up 232% on Viasat. She's now caught with another 25% gain on Stratasys. Walk us through these trades.
Well, this is a perfect opportunity of a perfect example of what we're looking for. And this is what we show people in these training events. I think there's a link below. If y'all want to click, register for it. It's free. It's online. You'll learn a lot. But this is the kind of thing we're looking for. So you got someone like Debbie Schultz. And again, you can review all their trading history and you see, okay, she doesn't buy stocks very often. She might buy some indexes, but she doesn't buy it. And suddenly she comes in out of nowhere, loading up on this little $7, nothing AI defense type company, Viasat. Why is she doing that? It's such a big outlier. And so you follow along, and if you did, you tripled your money in what's it been, 8 months, 9 months?
Look at those numbers.
And listen, we're not talking about somebody who makes 20 or 30 or 40 trades a year. This is the one trade she made in 2024. The one stock she's bought in 2025 is Stratasys.
We've got that one too here.
Well.
This is the Stratasys.
There it is.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz, once again accused of insider trading 17 hours ago. Records reveal Schultz purchased Stratasys Limited on August 18th, 2025. The stock is now up 25% in just over 40 days. Lobbying efforts focused on the Department of Defense appropriations for 3D printing technologies, STEM education funding, additive manufacturing technologies, and certification initiatives. Wasserman Schultz serves on the House Committee on Appropriations. Her subcommittee assignments are agricultural, rural development, Food and Drug Administration and related agencies, Energy, Water Development and related energy agencies, Military Construction, Veteran Affairs and related agencies, and a ranking member.
Bingo.
So this appears. What is this stock?
So military construction was Viasat. It's a defense contractor. She is on a department that decides where the money goes, the appropriations committee. She knows they're going to get big contracts. They're going to send the stock up, so she buys it. Stratasys is a 3D printing company. It's got all kinds of applications. A lot of those applications overlap with her committees and the appropriation board she sits on. So it's just like a giant game of connect the dots, right? With the politicians, you go, all right, I've got this politician who only buys like 1 or 2 random stocks a year. This little stock she's buying just so is something that would benefit hugely if her committees awarded billions to something they're tied to, and it's pretty obvious. On the executive side, you can track them too. If you've got a little pharmaceutical company in the middle of these, stage 2 clinical drug trials, and then suddenly 10 or 11 people at the company put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into their own stock for the first time in years, right before these are scheduled to be reported, it's like, you don't need to be murder she wrote to put this stuff together. We're just following the money. And so I think what a lot of people don't realize is this is public information. You can view it. It's not ethical. I don't like it. But let's be realistic. They are not going to stop. And the only thing that makes me sit here not getting worked up over this is when you're making 20 and 30 and 50 grand right alongside these scumbags, it's a little easier to laugh it off.
That's wild. Let's look at your Quiver Quant data. It shows that Congress is beating the market by 400%.
Yeah, so Quiver Quant is a site that does a deep dive on this stuff. They track all of these congressional buys and sells, and they've got this really simple strategy. All it does is it buys a stock when a member of Congress buys it, and it sells a stock when members of Congress sell it. That's all it does. And here for the last couple of years, you can see it has vastly outperformed. Now, this is not even cherry picking like the best ones, like Pelosi and like Schultz and these, the really, really blatant defenders. But this data to me is
look at that chart. Look at that chart, man.
We're not talking like they made an extra 2 or 3% a year. You're talking they're making quadruple what the index does. And most of the pros on Wall Street don't even match the index. So Buffett's not performing like this. Bill Ackman's not performing like this. The hedge funds don't have this kind of track record. How is it that 435 random Americans plucked from across the country, placing a couple of stock trades in between meetings, have as a group outperformed in such a wild manner? And the answer, of course, is simple. They cheat. They take advantage of information they have. And so, if you were looking at financial advisors, you're interviewing guys, one of them says, well, here's what we've done. It's about what the market does. And the other guy says, well, here's a track record of my clients. We've made 4 times the market. Who are you going to invest with, right? So if you're looking for a financial advisor to follow, as our guy said, I would encourage you to take a look at Congress, not Warren Buffett.
Okay. Here's a question. I'm looking at the beginning of the chart.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's pretty much, parity. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just starts to skyrocket. And then the gap between the S&P and Congress starts to grow and grow and grow. It's almost as if they just even got more brazen with their stock purchases. That's the beginning of the chart is like 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, in 5 years, they just got even more brazen.
Yeah, and coming off the 2020 lows after COVID, the whole market just had this huge surge up. So, everything did well then. And also, this is kind of the effect of the compounding return. If you beat the market by, 20, 30, 40% year over year over year over year, it's going to create this widening gap going forward. But yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, early on, the government was spending massive amounts of money in the printing, money printing. They were putting stimulus out there. They were passing things like the CHIPS Act in 22 that gave $54 billion of your and my tax dollars to NVIDIA and the semiconductor companies. Then they trigger war after war after war. They pump all the money over to the government contractors and the defense firms that are all their buddies and their donors. They know how much money they're going to get. They know what's going to happen. They get in front of these. It's just the revolving door. And I think this is really the way most of them make money. Sure, they're going to leave and get a cushy job on K Street. Sure, they're going to get some perks here and there. But I think the stock trades are the biggest source of corruption. There was that one guy that had they found gold bars in his wall or something. Remember that story?
Oh yeah.
But that seems to be more the exception than the norm. And look, we know Pelosi does this. We know Schultz does this. We know a lot of them did. There was a 3-year ethics committee investigation into what's his name, Mike Kelly. They proved unequivocally, yes, you insider traded. You took advantage of information you have with this company in your district. You knew they were getting these tariffs to prop up the firm. You took advantage. You make a bunch of money. And all they did was make him pay the $200 fine with interest. It's and that's after a 3-year ethics committee investigation. You had to spend millions on this. So
yeah, the investigation itself is going to cost more than the fine.
Exactly. So why are you even wasting our money investigating these guys? You finally got one dead to rights, and you don't prosecute them. And that's supposed to make me think you're going to ban insider trading? Give me a break.
All right. So Burchett says neither party will get the bill to committee because they're gutless.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question that's a little obvious here, but why won't Congress police itself?
They're the ones that write the rules, right? They're not going to cut this off unless they have to. Just like when they passed Obamacare, what do you know? They were exempt from this piece of garbage. And, listen, it's not, we're talking about Democrats. It's not just Democrats. Republicans are doing this. Junior senators are doing it. Freshmen, they're all, I shouldn't say all of them, but more are doing this than not. It's not a one-party issue. It is a corruption issue. And just as he said, Congress they're just dirty. They're just corrupt. If you've got this big corrupt agency, right, group, and you put some new guys in it every 2 or 4 years, they're just going to get corrupted alongside it, right? Mm-hmm. Unless you just fired all of them and started fresh. And even then, they'd probably be back to this dirty, corrupt pool of people in 2 or 3 years. So there's a handful of great guys and women there, upstanding folks. I think he's one of them, Burchett. But I just can't see them cutting this off.
Well, it blows my mind when you think about what's going on there in Congress. These people are sent there to represent us, and then they're taking privileged information that the average American just doesn't have, and they're profiting of it. But at least there's a paper trail you can track. You're tracking too, and you're teaching people how to do it, how to track it. So they're buying tech, they're buying defense, they're buying healthcare stocks, all during the shutdown. So what specific patterns do you think are occurring right now?
Well, these are some pretty hot areas in the markets right now. We're also seeing it into energy and other things. I could go on about the macro picture. The fact is, when it comes to the market, the government is not going to stop spending. They've been spending more money than they brought in every year for the last 20 years. We had Elon Musk and the Doge team. We had Trump who was on board. He had a lot of great fiscally conservative people in his ear, and it didn't happen. They raised the debt ceiling. They passed a new budget that's even higher. So the writing is really on the wall now, and what we're getting now is a situation where the Federal Reserve is cutting interest rates because it turns out the jobs numbers that came from Biden were totally crooked, and there's a million less jobs than we thought. And so now we have inflation above the 2% target. Generally, the Federal Reserve does not cut interest rates when inflation is high because it just makes it worse. But now they got a weak jobs market. So they're having to cut interest rates. They're going to continue cutting interest rates into 2026. That sends stocks higher. Every time, this has happened, I think, 20 times in history, that the Fed has cut rates with the stock market at all-time highs like it is now, 100% of the time the market was higher a year later, on average by about 14%. So everything here says inflation, which pushes stocks up. You got rate cuts, which push stocks up. You got growing GDP, which pushes stocks up. And you got Congress, who knows better than anybody, on a buying frenzy. So I think this is something people want to take advantage of. The way I look at it, and I know this is probably not proper, but I look at it saying, look, Congress works for us. As you said, they're there to represent the people, which is me. They're not apparently doing that very well, so at least I'm going to get something out of them, and I'm going to use them for stock tips. I'm going to use them as my personal financial advisors. So I'm going to follow the stocks they buy, make a few bucks, and maybe feel better about the whole thing. And I encourage people to do the same because I think it's just this huge loophole, this big advantage the everyday trader has. Most don't take advantage of, and I think people should.
Ross, man, I'm so happy that you're out there tracking this stuff and, of course, giving people the tools to do the same. Because, when Debbie Wasserman Schultz is making these trades, you got, corporate executives making trades, and the average guy is just, the average trader doesn't know what the heck's going on or how to, how to capitalize on charts that look like this. I mean, it's remarkable. So, Ross, thank you for joining us once again. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Great to see you, Gary.
Now, Ross Givens has just exposed the ultimate proof of congressional corruption. While they shut down the government and spread fear, they're buying stocks because they know it's all theater. The market hitting all-time highs during a shutdown, it tells you everything. And Representative Burchett calling it crooked as hell, and he's in Congress. Debbie Wasserman Schultz up 232%. The Congress buy strategy up 400%. This is not investing. It's organized crime with illegal loophole. Okay, they dumped stocks before COVID because they knew. They're buying now because they know. The shutdown's fake drama while they position for profits using your tax dollars as insider information. So make sure you tap the link in the description, networkofinsiders.com, to learn how to legally track these corrupt trades. If they won't stop the stealing, at least you can follow their footsteps. Because when Congress beats the market by 400%, following them isn't just smart, it's survival.